Hey, this is Fiona. I have done ayahuasca now 4 times in the last 2 months. So I wanted to share my experience and maybe give you some tips if you are interested in trying it. So I actually was experiencing the night before, I was experiencing a tremendous amount of anxiety and fear and just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Because I knew from my first 2 experiences, it was very intense. And the week before, I was actually recovering from an infection that I had. So I had to be on 3 antibiotics, and I was having all sorts of digestive issues and not feeling well, not feeling my full 100%. So I kind of went into this journey feeling a little bit reluctant about like, will I make it out? Because when you do ayahuasca, you want to be 100%. You don't want to go in, not feeling well, because you're going to feel really, really bad then. So I ended up going to Santa Cruz the night before and staying over there. But yeah, it was hard. I remember being kind of like in tears, like panicking, like, and then when you don't take a deep breath, you actually, the diaphragm gets tight, and then it kind of cuts off the connection with the heart. So, just a memo to myself again, if I have that same kind of fear experience again, I just want to tell you that you don't need to be scared. Like, there's a lot of preparation before, you get to be with other people who are having this experience alongside you. And it's not as bad as you make it out in your head, because I tend to amplify things like, oh my God, it's going to be this horrible nightmarish experience, and I kind of set myself up for kind of having a bad experience when that was not really the case. So don't get too worked up or panicky, because it's, in the end, it's not going to serve you. So I drove to this place. It was at a house up in the woods in Santa Cruz, and there were a total of 9 of us. So there was 9 people and 3 facilitators. And I remember, because I had one of my friends was going with me. She actually decided to join me in this journey. And basically it was up this very steep, windy road. And I remember trying to drive up, and then all of a sudden my car kind of like gave out. So I had to have 3 men help me with my car, and they couldn't drive it up the hill. So we just ended up leaving my car at the bottom of the hill. And I kind of think it's kind of relates to my resistance in doing the journey, because I remember just like all this, like 1 foot on the gas, 1 foot on the brake, and it was just like, it totally was just recreating what I was feeling on the inside. So we get to the retreat center, and there's 9 other people. I think there were a total of 4 women and then 5 guys. And this group I felt really connected with. I'd done ayahuasca twice the month before, and the people were amazing, and I really connected with them, but it wasn't quite as familial as this group was, and I really appreciated that. I feel like I had known these people for a while somehow through past lives or whatever. So anyways, we started by doing breath work, and I feel very like I feel safe. I feel like I can make sound, I can cry, I can yell, but for the most part, I was exhausted. So for the second part of the breathwork session, and they do the breathwork session to kind of prepare you for the ayahuasca journey that night. So, you kind of feel into your body, breathe and feel the emotions, and then, kind of express them if you need to. And I found myself actually falling asleep the second half. There was a lot of grief in the beginning, but the second half, I was basically falling asleep. I was in need of sleep. I was just exhausted. And this probably didn't help, but I worked out at the UFC gym like twice on Wednesday. So 2 days before my journey, and I was so sore, and so it wasn't really a good kind of, I didn't really set myself up for a to feel really good going into this journey, and I was a bit nervous for sure. And so the first night of the journey, we start at 6 o'clock. We share our intentions, and my intention for this journey was to have Grandma Ayahuasca show me how to be kind, gentle, loving, and compassionate to myself, so that I was open to receiving the healing and receiving the love and receiving whatever I needed to know or to feel or to release. And it was all about just handing it over, surrendering, because Mother Ayahuasca, it's a very feminine type of medicine, meaning you don't want to fight with it. It will kick your ass. So the best thing to do is just to surrender and to just let go, because that's really, you don't want to be struggling. You don't want to resist anything, because it's just going to make things worse and you're already feeling a lot of things. I just wanted to, show me how to be kind and compassionate, loving, and gentle towards myself, because I have not been that way for a very long time. I have Asian mom, and growing up, it was just work, do, no break, no rest, no nothing. So this was kind of a really good experience for me in surrendering. So when I took the ayahuasca, I think I took a total of 2 doses. It was just like, in the beginning, nothing really happened. It took like an hour for stuff to start kicking in. And I know the last medicine, stuff would happen right away. Like people were purging, like within 2 minutes of taking the medicine. For this time, the medicine was strong, but it was like a really, like, it was nothing. And then all of a sudden at the hour mark, it like shot up and got really intense. And it's different for everyone. So I just felt it was the most uncomfortable feeling ever. It was just like I felt all the pain and all the aches and the stuff in my body. I could feel my muscles and the organs, like everything, especially like my lower abdomen was just like excruciating pain. And I just remember like saying like, oh, this is so painful. This is so painful. Like, I don't like this. Like, please, I want to stop. And it felt like Mother Ayahuasca or Grandma Ayahuasca was like holding me down, like holding my body down, like pinning me to the mat. Like, no, you're experiencing this. This is the pain that your body is feeling. Stop trying to run away from it. This is your body like screaming at you to like, take care of me, take care of me. I just felt like I was so fragile and so weak, and so just like, I felt like I was 90 years old. Like my joints started getting all like really clunky. Like I remember like I did have to use the bathroom in the middle of my journey, and I like couldn't even like get up. Like it was just so, and it's kind of like being when you're in a deep trance, a super deep trance, and you can't move, or like one of those dreams where like a night terror where you try to move but you can't. It was like that. It was just my body was like paralyzed to the mat, and I couldn't do anything. I could talk, I could ask for help, but my speech was very slurred, and I remember feeling just utterly helpless and miserable, and just it was like I just wanted it to be done with. And I remember I was hearing my friend over on the other side, and she was at rock bottom. She was like purging the whole time, and she was crying, this deep grief, sorrow that she was releasing. And I was kind of trying to like reach out to her and be like, I love you, I'm here with you, but I can't help you because I'm like stuck in my own experience. And the music is meant to amplify whatever you're feeling. And it was hard because it was like I didn't purge at all, which was kind of interesting because I had purged my earlier journey, and it was just like this stuck in this like misery and pain and awfulness. And like you could hear people vomiting violently and making all these sounds, and I was just like suffering in silence. I was like, I didn't want to vomit either, because that would have hurt. Like my stomach was already hurting, my muscles were already super sore, and I was already feeling like when I took the medicine, I remember feeling shaky and weak, and I told them that. I was like, I'm feeling shaky and weak. um please be gentle with me. And yeah, it was like, it felt like suffering for sure. It felt like I was just like pinned to the ground for 6 hours. Like, you have to feel this pain. I was feeling cramping, and it wasn't related to my period. It was just like super cramping in my gut. And it was just like, I just wanted it to be done with. And I was like, I wasn't having any visuals this time either. It was just pure body sensations. I did feel the Kundalini, because the thing that keeps happening with all my journeys is this intense Kundalini. So, when you drink it, you could feel it kind of going down in your system. And for me, it's just like this huge fire that kind of goes through, and it like cleans out. And for me though, it was very erratic and very like all over the place. I later talked to one of the other people, and they said that they used like a amethyst or stone or something like that to kind of like help channel the energy, so it was more directed rather than just like all over, like flooding and like all over the place. So that's something I'll keep in mind for the next journey. So towards the end, it was like, I have a hard time where I sometimes feel like I want to like help people. Like I hear they're suffering, they really need help, they're in a lot of pain, and then I kind of like go not out of my journey, but I start to focus on them. And that's something I'm trying not to do, because that tends to just happen. But yeah, I felt like, this first journey was intense in a completely different way than the first one. The first one was very visual, really interesting patterns, and really just a lot of I don't know, a lot of like fractally crazy weird things. I noticed during my session that I felt the illness that I had felt the week before, but like really heightened and amplified. So I felt the fever, I felt the pain in my lower abdomen, my uterus area, cramping, and this pressure that I had to use the bathroom. And it was just like everything from the sickness that I'd had before was just amplified, minus the throwing up. So that was really unpleasant, and it's basically Mother Ayahuasca saying, hey, your body's trying to tell you something, and you shouldn't be ignoring this. Because when I took the antibiotics, it basically just made me have side effects, which was not good. But it was just kind of like it's just like burning through stuff, and then not, just like, oh, I need to take antibiotics, and then not really addressing like what's going on in the body. Why am I getting sick? Like, what's this all telling me? Because the body's really smart, and the medicine is just there to shine this huge magnifying glass on your life. So anyways, that night, after the ceremony, we're all eating fruit and stuff, and I felt miserable. I remember like being pissed off and being like, oh, everyone's like having a good time, and I'm just miserable, and I don't want to be here, and I'm definitely not going to do the second ceremony. I was dead set on like, no, I'm sick. I feel sicker. I feel worse. This is not going to make me feel better, and I just want to leave. Like, I wanted to leave that night. I was so like upset and just felt awful, and I felt just it was not fun. So the next day, everyone's kind of like anxious, because the next ceremony, you had the first intense ceremony, and everyone's just like, I don't know if I can handle the second one. Two of the guys actually ended up leaving because it was kind of intense for them. So they said like, oh, you know what, this is something that we just wanted to try out. And remember, ayahuasca is not for everyone. It's fucking intense. It's not like mushrooms or LSD, it's way more intense. And the medicine, that's the thing about the medicine, is the facilitator shaman that brewed it tends to make it very, very, very strong. So, and I think just hearing the sounds of people like purging and stuff and moaning, and that can be intense too. I've definitely had it where it was just like, oh, I don't want to be hearing everyone like puking. But then you start to see it as a beautiful thing. It's like, oh, they're releasing this energy, these toxins in their body that they've been holding in. They're getting better, they're healing. So you start to see the sounds as something that's like a very beautiful thing. I know that's kind of weird, but so anyways, the two guys, they ended up leaving the ceremony, so we ended up going from 9 to 7 people. And the second night, I had something happen to me during the day that was a little bit kind of freaky. It kind of freaked me out. I'm not gonna talk about it because it was kind of personal, but it had to do with the medicine releasing from my body. Anyways, the antibiotics. I won't go into detail, but anyways, I decided that I would be on the couch for the second journey just because I needed to be close to the bathroom because I was having that pressure in my bladder, almost like a UTI, like, oh, if I have to use the bathroom, I'm just gonna, walk there instead of having to go all the way around the house to the bathroom. So the second night, my intention was the same. I wanted, ayahuasca to show me how to be kind, gentle, and compassionate and loving with myself, and to just heal everything in my gut. Just whatever is happening down here, I just wanted to release this. And I remember taking the medicine, and right away I purged from the south. That happens. And all the bathrooms were full. That's kind of interesting because like one guy actually had to go outside to use the bathroom because he couldn't make it to the bathroom. I remember there was a secret bathroom upstairs, so I had to go upstairs to the secret bathroom, and I didn't know if I needed to purge from the south, purge from the north. It just felt like it was all gonna come out. But anyways, that happened, and then I came back down, and I just felt ill. Again, it was just like amplifying everything in my body. I was still feeling sore, I was still feeling the cramping, still feeling like the fever, and it was just like amplifying everything, all the worst things I was feeling, just like 1,000 times. And I remember just being like holding my gut and just being like, please, I just want this to heal, just let this heal, like, praying to I remember when the facilitators came over and she's like, okay, we'll do a prayer, bring in Archangel Michael to do healing on you because this is, we want you to be well. And so she did the little kind of prayer thing, and yeah, it was still bad. I remember like I remember saying like, oh, I just want to sleep this off. I don't want to go through this experience. And that was impossible because I remember like trying to fall asleep because I was very exhausted. And then all of a sudden the Kundalini like shot up to like 1,000,000%. And all of a sudden I felt panicky, and I felt like my skin was crawling, like there were like bugs, and I just needed to like crawl out of my skin. It was the most uncomfortable feeling ever. And I just almost like called out, like I was feeling like angry and just like all this intense emotion. And I was already separated from the group because I needed to be near the bathroom. And I remember at that moment there was this thought like, no, don't fight the ayahuasca. This is you have to let go. And that's when I was like, oh, the cricket sound started getting so loud. And I remember like, oh, the crickets are tickling my aura, and it was this huge buzzing. It kind of reminded me of my second experience, which is where the crickets are like vibrating your aura, and it like was all over. It was amazing. I didn't get visuals so much. There was one point where because I had a tantra teacher that abused his power. This was in my 20s, and kind of took advantage of the teacher-student relationship. And I actually was holding my uterus, and I had a conversation with him. I saw his face. He was like dressed, he had makeup, his eyes were all done. And usually it was really triggering for me. It usually gets me really angry when I think of this person, but when I saw him, I was having this conversation. I said, "No, you do not own my vagina. You do not own my ovaries. You don't own my uterus." And I was saying, "I own my ovaries and my female space, my uterus and my ovaries and my vagina. I own all of that." And he was like agreeing with me. He's like, "Yeah, you do." And it wasn't like he was being sarcastic or anything, but he was just like acknowledging, like, yeah, no, they're yours. Yeah, I see what you mean. Like acknowledging it. And I had seen like in my lower abdomen area, it was like thorns. It was like, it felt like thorns, like it was all hard. And it was because, I had sexual experiences in the past that were rough, that were not really gentle. And it was my body basically saying, like, no more of that. No, that's not what you need. You need healing. You need love. You need self-love. And it was just like, I felt where my lady parts were very explicit and very clear with me, like, no, you don't need anything rough or anything that's like intense or hurts you or anything like that. And so there's this clarity, this moment of like, yeah, yeah, pain does not equal love. It's and it was this huge realization that I'd put myself through a lot of sexual experiences that were not exactly nice to my body. And it was kind of hard to accept that at first, because I was just like, but then it was just like, no, it was very clear. It was like, no more of that, no more of that. Like, I felt like I was just holding, my uterus area, and it was just like sending this area love and like forgiveness, like forgiving myself for putting you through all of this damaging stuff, with just people that I had slept with in the past. And so it was really healing. And I remember by the end of that experience, I was almost completely pain-free. And I think it had to do with reworking those agreements with that Tantra teacher. So that was really powerful, because I had been suffering for those 2 days for both of the ceremonies. And so finally I had that relief. And yeah, it was just, I think just overall the experience the next day, or that evening when we closed the ceremony, it was such pure joy and bliss and just self-love. I remember because they had separated the women from the men, and just feeling a sense of connection with everyone. We were just like dancing and moving and singing and eating fruit, and I felt so familial. It felt like I had really broken through a lot of stuff, a lot of patterns that had kind of reworked everything. And I just felt so clear. This whole channel, this inner channel, felt so clear. And I remember just like the joy and the happiness could just travel up and down. And it was like returning to being a kid again. It was like the sense of excitement and fun and joy and happiness. And I remember going outside with a few of the people, and we were just like in the sound bath of the crickets, and it was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And we had a lot of good laughs, just telling stories and stuff. And my poor friend, she was still purging in the bathroom even after the ceremony, but she asked for so much. So it was like she wanted an intense experience, and she got way more than intense. And the next day we woke up, and it was just pure bliss. It was just, I mean, this group was especially, I just felt so close with, and so just like I just loved everyone in that group. It was just so much joy and happiness, and like we'd gone through this like struggle and these challenges together, and we'd made it out alive, and felt so amazing. I remember like people saying like, oh, your eyes look so clear, and you just have this sense of joy on your face. And like, wow, because the first night I was miserable, and I remember just being like, oh, I just felt awful. Like if someone took a picture of me, I wish I could have taken a picture of that version of me, just because it's just so night and day with how it changed after the second ceremony. And that's what they said, the facilitator said, is that, people sometimes only do one ceremony, you don't get everything out of your system. It doesn't really clean out all the energy. And so you need that second session to really kind of bring in the healing and, feel that sense of oneness and bliss. I agree with that. I think that the first session is meant to kick your ass. It's meant to kind of really clear out any of the stuff that's still lying dormant in your space. And the second session is meant to help you really connect with yourself, because it's really just connecting you with yourself. It's not like it's a magical thing. It's just bringing you back to yourself. So yeah, I think the integration thing is really important. So this is kind of like my tips to you if you're thinking of doing ayahuasca, is you want to have an intention before you go in. You want to know why you're doing this. You don't want to just go to I just want to experience it. I want to just get high, because it's not exactly fun. There can definitely be moments of bliss and happiness, but it's like you have to work through all the dark stuff. So my first journey kind of showed me that. It's like I had to kind of hit rock bottom in order to really feel the bliss and the love in my heart. I had to release all that stuff that was blocking it. So, they make you do the dieta. So it's pretty much like a vegan diet, gluten-free, no sugar, no salt, no oil, no sex, no masturbating, no violent films, minimizing your interaction with people as well. So, try to stay off of social media, try to hang out with yourself as much as possible. And, also, journaling, you can ask yourself questions, but having a clear intention of why you want to do this experience. And, but go into it not having any expectations. We did a lot of tarot stuff before to kind of like help, make sense of things that happened. Like I chose one of the cards from the ayahuasca deck. Was the Ikaro, which is the songs that the shaman would sing. And it was all about using my voice. They say that your vocal cords is made out of the same stuff as your female parts. So it's like, use your voice. It's good for like healing trauma, to your sexual space for women. I don't know if that's true for men. So, yeah, so coming out of the journey, just making sure you stay on the diet, rest, lots of water, don't do social media. I mean, I try to stay off of social media afterwards. Try not to work for 3 days after your journey. And yeah, just, do things that feel good. Take a bath, go for a walk, go into nature, do things that are grounding. Like I made vegan vegetable soup today. And I just did a lot of cleaning. I have this thing as like, I have to like reorganize everything. I have to like purge stuff that I don't want anymore, that's no longer in the vibration that I want. And I did a lot of journaling and yeah, just playing music. I played a lot of music this morning, improvising, and I felt this renewed connection to my creative energy, because I've kind of felt like there's a lot of resistance in playing music. And there happened to be a piano at the retreat place, and we actually played music the last day of the ceremony, and that was really fun, because it was just a simple blues thing, but it was just like totally letting go and just having fun, just being kids again. So for me, the ayahuasca experience was super powerful, because it's like it jiggles your consciousness, and it shakes up the things that you think are permanent, and like your lineage, like your Asian lineage. It's like it kind of helps uproot you, so you don't have to follow in that same lineage. You don't have to worry about the karma. Like you don't have to kind of be in that like paradigm. You don't have to carry that baggage of your ancestors. Like that was one thing that I definitely have worked on releasing on my first ayahuasca journey. So yeah, it's like, what do I want to feel? What kind of life do I want to have? Not what do my ancestors want me to do, and all that control energy. So Yeah, I think that doing ayahuasca is definitely not for everyone. It's really, really intense, and you will definitely face parts of yourself that you're afraid of. You'll see things that you're like, oh, I thought that was already healed. But it's like the medicine knows what to do. And I talked to, the facilitator, and she said, yeah, out of all the medicines, out of, all the plant medicines out there, ayahuasca is the most powerful healing. And I believe her. I believe her. I think that it kind of brings you back to this open, childlike presence, and you just feel this pure joy and bliss and happiness and self-love. And I think that that's what we're here to do, is we're here to experience love and connect with one another, and but really connect with ourselves and have that love vibration kind of just be contagious in the world. I think that's really what it's about, because it's easy to just kind of get into that habit of like do, and then it's more, you're more in your head and you're thinking, and you're not like being in your body and feeling what your body's feeling. And so it's like both of my experiences were definitely about the body. There was some mental coleslaw. Like I saw some really creepy images my third journey. I saw some really creepy images, like of the devil, distorted face, goat, half man person with black hair charging at me. And I remember having to open my eyes in the beginning, just because it was just too intense for me. And all the visuals happen with your eyes closed. They can also happen with your eyes open, but it was, for me, when my eyes were closed, I was having these distorted kind of images. That was my what I experienced this last time. But for the most part, it was mostly about feeling in my body. It was mostly about my experience in this painful, miserable feeling, like I had this horrible infection in my body, and just feeling it amplified, and for 6 hours amplified, and just like Mother Ayahuasca holding me down, like, hey, be with your body, be with this pain. So it was like I was like taking care of a sick child, which is my body, and just had to be there for myself for that whole time, even though I wanted to get up and leave because it got so intense. But I just know that the surrendering part is so important in taking this medicine. And on Sunday, just the feeling of just bliss and joy, and like a renewed like passion for life that was not there before. So yeah, I definitely recommend that everyone should try ayahuasca at least once in their lifetime. It has definitely changed my life for the better. It's not an easy journey, and it does change the brain. It can heal depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and addiction behavior and stuff like that. So I definitely noticed that my dreams have become a lot more vivid since I've done ayahuasca my first time last month in August 2020. And it's just made my insights a lot more clear. Yeah, it was very powerful. I mean, I say that about all my ayahuasca journeys. And there's this thing about like finding peace within yourself that it's like, I think before my pattern was like I would complain a lot, like, oh, this is happening in the world and this is happening in the world. But it's like having compassion for everyone, having, like, hey, I know this person has maybe done a lot of destructive things on the planet, but how can I have compassion for them? They're a wounded little girl or a wounded little boy, and they deserve love just as much as like someone else would. So it was about like having compassion for others. And also, instead of fighting the system, complaining and judging it, like, what can I do that maybe helps build a different system? So, yeah, I am definitely in the integration period right now, and I feel very open. I feel very like I can't look at people in the eye because it's like too much energy. It's like, you're kind of sensitive to that. So, like, I have just been taking it easy, relaxing, reading a lot of books. I've been wanting to get away from, I read a lot of nonfiction books, so I've been trying to go to like Harry Potter or something more fun and lighthearted. So I've been staying on the diet, so pretty much vegan, raw vegan diet, and high frequency food, no sugar, no spicy stuff, no oil, no salt, no fermented foods, no garlic, no onions, because that actually shields your third eye. I didn't know that. And no, they say no screen time. I'm kind of breaking that rule right now, but I wanted to capture the experience because I know, like, right after my ayahuasca experience, just the energy is so just high vibration and open, and I wanted to capture it so I remember it. And then they say to not share your journey, you know, wait at least 3 days. You can share your journey with people that went through the journey with you, but try not to share it with anyone else, just because you want it to be held in a sacred space and you don't want there to be any energy leaks or stuff that kind of disperses the energy if you're telling it to someone that might not understand. So that's important too. And then having a spiritual practice that you can kind of keep this vibration going. So I've been doing breath work. I meditated this morning, and I'm going to meditate tonight. And then also, you know, doing things that like connect you to yourself, like make a vision board, or what else can you do? You know, dress up, have fun, journal. I keep saying journaling. Make an altar, you know, like an altar is like a sacred space that kind of reminds you of something, you know, whatever your intention is. Like I have pretty much an altar in every single room, because I did that when after my first ceremony, I came back and I had to have an altar in every single room, because I was just like, oh my God, every room is sacred. I need to have this energy to remind me. And then, yeah, just doing things that are mindful and resting, not doing crazy stuff. Don't go to the UFC gym, work out. Don't try to run a marathon or anything like that. Just take it easy and be gentle on yourself. So anyways, thanks for listening to my journey, and yeah, we'll see you in the next video.